got me off the hook.
You don't actually think you took that stuff, do you?
You put it there?
I did it to protect you.
No, you did it to spite me because you were jealous.
Get real.
It's true. It's what you always do when I've got something you haven't. You did it because you're a sad, jealous, frustrated cow.
Now you listen good. Go to your room, get rid of anything you've got of his, and never, ever mention his name again. Move!
Welcome to Series 4, Episode 23 of Conversation on Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
And Tamsin.
Hello.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 4, Episode 23. The screenplay was done by Charles Hodges. It was directed by Costa Boats. And the episode synopsis was read out by Liz.
Amber agrees to meet the tribe leaders with pride before she leaves the city. Lex makes an enemy while trying to save his skin, and Jay faces a choice after finding out about Ram's intentions towards Ebony. I just wanted to share a heartbreaking moment with you guys about this episode and this week. So I was going to try and watch this episode early, get it over with, and instead I ended up watching a bunch of other tribe stuff, and I ended up watching the old tribe music videos. And you guys, I was watching Abba Messiah music video and This Is the Place, and I started getting really emotional because my desire to go back was so strong. And again, if I was doing this by myself, I would have already gone back. I would have already scrapped season 4 and gone back to season 1 or season 2. But I wanted it so bad. I was like, I miss characters I care about. I miss storylines I'm invested in. I miss the aesthetic of the time. I miss the score. It was rough. It was a rough time for me. I want to go back. I want to go back to the show I love. Why am I here?
I feel you.
Yep.
I'm not even lying. I had to restart this episode multiple times. I just wasn't engaged. I just couldn't get the energy to go through it. It took a lot of tries.
My boyfriend's trying to cheer us up by saying, "Hey guys, you're almost halfway through the season."
In many ways, that makes it worse though, because
It did. It felt more like a threat.
yeah, we've got less time to actually spend in this world as well. But like, yeah, it's torture.
Mm-hmm. And not even in a nice way.
I mean, it is shocking because we are about to hit the halfway mark, and I could struggle to tell you exactly what's happened. There's not a lot has happened.
Yeah, and it feels like the story is really struggling. But why? This could have been so interesting, but it comes on the back of season 3 where we've kind of already seen this. It's just another flavour of what we've already seen, but more from the perspective of the Chosen, i.e. the Technos. Yeah. And all the characters are so watered down now that they're not enjoyable.
Yeah. So yeah, let's jump into that opening scene.
Stop playing dumb. You think I'm stupid or something?
Yes, I'd say you were one of the stupidest people I've ever met.
I'm gonna get you for this. I'll prove it was you if it's the last thing I do.
Now listen to me, because I have a little deal for you. Confess and take the rap, and I'll keep quiet about you and Siva.
Later, Siva stands up to Java when she finds out that Lex has been set up. But Java hits back, literally, and orders Siva to remove any trace of Lex from her room so she doesn't get caught in what's about to happen. So yeah, just like a general question, is Java right in the lengths that she is going in order to protect her sister from the disaster that will happen by her refusal to end her relationship with Lex?
I think so, yes. Because she seems to be the only person who realises that they're married to a sociopath.
Yeah. She's the only one who seems to get what that means.
Yeah.
Also, Siva and Lex are being really dumb. Like, if they were being more discreet and more careful, then Java her actions would come across as different, as overbearing. But no, Siva and Lex are being really dumb and obvious about this affair. They're being careless with it, and all of that will lead to Siva getting harmed, or you know what I mean, facing her husband's wrath. So, I mean, they pushed Java to a place. She talked to them. She asked them first. It'd be different if this was her first attempt to destroy whatever's making her sister happy. But she has talked to both of them a few times. Like, stop what you're doing because somebody's going to get hurt. Ram's going to find out. You've just gotten lucky so far. And they both ignored her. They both, Steve was like, you're just jealous. Ah, ah, ah. And Lex is like, I frankly don't care. Now, if I were Java and I had talked to Lex and said, look, my sister could be in danger if you continue this, so please back off. And he ignored me, I'm going to conclude that he doesn't give a crap about my sister's safety, so I don't give a crap about his. I want him out of the picture. I'm Team Java.
Yeah, same. I'd also say Siva already has been tortured by Ram. She knows that if he finds out she's had the affair, it's going to be so much worse. She might be deleted. And yet, and what is it about Lex? What is it about this relationship that she's ready to throw everything away for?
It's so crazy.
They've had a couple of hookups in a shed. I mean, get real, girl.
Well, if this is maybe the first time she's felt a genuine sexual and romantic desire for somebody, that can be incredibly intoxicating at her age, and it's something that's just hers, it's something of her own choice. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I do get why it's like, no, this is mine, and it feels amazing, and I've never had this before, and da-da-da-da-da. But I agree that, on the surface, like, what is it about Lex? Like, seriously? Like, Siva, seriously. But I do understand what she sees in the appeal and why she's willing to risk all of this. But she's being really dumb about it, so...
I don't get why Siva isn't reacting more, taking this more seriously. Like, she was just tortured by Ram, let's not forget, and she's just taking this all like blasé attitude, like end it with Lex, or you're both gonna get like serious trouble. And just the way she's acting is like, yeah, I go away, like, you know what I mean? There's no emphasis on what is gonna happen. Like, I just don't get her reaction.
And it's counter to how she was reacting last week in the last episode when she was trying to get him out of the room and he kind of talked her around and they got back together again. She did take it seriously. She was frightened. And now she's okay with it. And he's been taking, like, this is the time when you have to de-escalate the relationship. Because, I mean, essentially, it's over. He's going to a labor camp.
I did find it interesting that instead of actually exploring why Siva's fighting for this so hard, because I just think that would have been that was needed. Siva being upset. Why not actually tell us what it is about this relationship that's so appealing to her, rather than simply accusing Java of being jealous? Like, I don't care if Java's this. We know, we're getting to know Java. You've already emphasized she's a dominant kind of sister, blah blah blah. I want to know why this relationship means so much to Siva.
Yeah,
because it's crazy. She's risking everything for this man, and yet she doesn't seem like, at this point in time, she doesn't seem to panic as much as I would expect her to.
Yeah, because you would panic. Because she doesn't know what sort of tortures they're going to put Lex through, or whether he's going to crack and say everything. I mean, that would be in the back of your mind, wouldn't it? If they start to torture him the way they tortured me, will he spill the beans? Like, it's not a very nice thought, but it is something you would think about.
Yeah, and common sense would say he would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also there's that, she's not even questioning the idea that he won't. That's the other thing. Maybe she's certain about how she feels about him, but she doesn't know how he feels about her, that he might save himself and throw her under the bus if he thinks it will save him.
Yeah, because this is Lex we're talking about, It's...
And he's got a wife, which she knows. She knows that.
And she knows that they took his wife. Wow, there's so much
Yeah.
these two could be discussing that never gets said. I swear to God.
Yeah. Yeah, but they can't discuss it, can they? Because if they do, we'd actually get some plot and we'd get some stuff for them to do, you know.
We can't have that. So.
No, we can't have that. And also, selfishly, from Java's perspective, this is all going to go badly wrong for her as well. Because we already know that out of all these women, she's the one that Ram seems to dislike or have always snaps at. He seems to be the most disappointed with Java. And if it goes wrong, she's going to get the blame. As well as Siva. Be like, why didn't you keep better control on your sister?
Yep, that's exactly what he'd say. That's exactly what he'd say. Anybody feel bad for Lex?
No.
Nah.
No, not really, because Siva's warned him. She even told him that he had tortured her. And he was like, well, we can still be together.
We're not going to change anything. We're not going to change anything about where we're hooking up or how often we do it. We're not going to take any precaution. It's just going to work out, babe.
And at this point, like, what are his feelings for her? Because we understand a little bit from perhaps how she feels about him. How does he feel about her? Is this just a hookup to him that's gotten out of control and he kind of feels a bit maybe sorry for her? I don't know.
Would be nice to know, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to know. Is he lonely? Is he desperate for companionship? Is he trying to put a Band-Aid over his feelings?
Yeah.
Nah, I got no idea.
Or has he found someone he thinks that can move on with her?
Nah, I can't imagine that, honestly.
Yep, who knows?
Yeah,
They don't bother to tell us.
And she's going to be a placeholder, isn't she? It's Siva the placeholder for Lex.
That's how she gets treated in the grand story.
Yeah.
Until the day she dies. Like the day she dies is when she and Lex reconcile and he realizes, wow, I think I have actually found the right person, and then dead. So that's exactly what she is, and she deserved better. And again, this could have been a beautiful, tragic love story. If we'd known what the frick she meant to Lex, if we knew what was going through his head, and they'd actually explored the depths of this relationship.
I mean, it could also have been another story where she self-actualizes. So she leaves the Technos because she met Lex. Things don't work out for Lex. She goes to Liberty. She finds herself. She doesn't die. Ruby goes back to the mall, but Siva stays in Liberty and runs the saloon.
Oh, that would have been lovely.
Or Ruby and Siva realize that they were meant to be together all along.
And they run it together. Yeah.
Yep.
There's so many. Yeah.
So many missed opportunities there.
Press the button, somebody. Press the button. It didn't have to end the way it did.
No.
Maybe for Java, but not for Siva.
But both of their deaths were meaningless. Yeah, it propelled nothing forward for any characterization for anyone. It was just done for the event. It had no meaning. It was meaningless.
Well, and they're also two characters at that point the writers are kind of given up on.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, Ebony, the death of your two sisters, has that affected you in any way? No. It has nothing.
No.
If only it had.
And the fact that you killed one of them.
Oh, yeah.
It was not natural causes. You actually killed her. You know.
But it has no lasting impact on her, no development, nothing.
No.
So why were they there? Like, you know what I mean? That ultimately is just pointless.
Well, that's just them, isn't it? They are ultimately just pointless. And it's such a shame because they both give good performances and they could have been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is the ultimate thing that we've been saying all since the beginning of this series. There's some gold in here, but they don't do anything with it. There's so many story strands they could do with these characters, but no. Just surface level.
The only way they'll leave is if it's not worth their while to stay here. You need lots of low-level sabotage every day. And most important, you need to get the power station switched off.
Are you crazy? This is the best there's ever been since the virus.
We need to live here, Amber. Maybe you're forgetting that.
Yeah, but think about it. None of the stuff the Technos are doing comes for free. They're gonna want a price from you soon, and if you don't want to pay it, you have to act now.
Meanwhile, Amber meets with the tribe leaders, smoothing over Pride's brashness, but struggles to convince them that the Technos will soon want a price for providing the power. Seeing how down Pride is about the outcome of the meeting, and wanting to return the favour for his help against the Chosen, Amber does agree to stay for a few more days. So yeah, panel, let's talk about that moment with the tribal leaders. Yeah, let's focus on that.
There are some, which was amazing to see some tribe leaders with lines of dialogue. Jet's still alive, yeah. And she's got a new outfit, I believe.
Positives. I liked seeing the tribe leaders. It means absolutely nothing, since there are no other tribes. You can't just pull them out. You cannot create a world where the other tribes do not matter, have no stake, have no say, have no voice, never are seen, except when you suddenly want to pretend that they do exist, because they clearly have no effect on this world. It doesn't work. It's lame. It's such bad storytelling. I don't believe that these tribe leaders exist. I may be looking at them. You can pull them and put them in front of the camera and say these are tribe leaders, but I don't believe you, because I have no evidence that there are tribes in this city that matter. Okay, so no, I don't care. But I will say it was nice to see Jet. I always love seeing Jet. She deserved to be used more. It was nice to see a conversation between tribe leaders, even if it is absolutely meaningless in this season.
I think for me, what I found so difficult is the way they kind of listen to Amber, because to them, Amber is still nobody really. Let's think about it. Season 1, they were hauled up essentially in lockdown in the mall, and they peeped out and they went to that tribal gathering, and it was a bit of a disaster. But I don't think any of the other leaders would have known who Amber was. They know Bray because he's been around, and he distributed the antidote, and he was co-leader with the Mole Rats when the Mole Rats were trying to run things in season 2. Amber pops up midway in the city in season 3, and she's running things like she always had been, as if she always had been. But actually, why would they take a meeting with her? They'd be more likely to take a meeting with Amber, who are Pride and Ebony, who are Pride and Amber to these people. They are no one. They are outsiders and someone they've never heard of.
Yeah, I think it actually would have made more sense for them to be meeting with Salene,
Yeah.
That's the narrative, trying to up Amber's importance, which is completely unfair to the character of Amber, because she's already awesome in her own right. She doesn't need all this sugarcoating and, stop covering her in all this shingling. She doesn't need it. She doesn't need it. Amber already stands as a great character. Stop shilling her like this, because it insults her character and actually brings on a contempt for her character, which she doesn't deserve. But think of how many people really hate Amber, and this is long before the whole J. Trudy Ebony thing. Before they were like, oh, she just steals your man. Like, they didn't like her because of this kind of shilling that was done to her character. Rather than just letting Amber earn her position, which she has, but still be realistic about the fact that just because she has a lot of sway with a few people is important to them, as Tamsin very fairly pointed out, she would not have that kind of sway with the city kids. She was barely around in season 3 when they were dealing with the Chosen. Heck, she didn't even go to the last city leader meeting, because she was so annoyed at the time. It was Trudy who'd gone, so they should not have this. Like, it's okay for Pride to have a reverence for Amber and to believe anybody will listen to her simply because he would, but portray it fairly, that other kids wouldn't. They would not care what she has to say. She hasn't been around through this entire takeover. It doesn't matter that it's fair she hasn't been around. They just know they haven't seen her,
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense that they would care to sit down with her to have this conversation where the narrative is banging you over the head with how important she is, and I just stop insulting Amber's character that way. She doesn't need this,
Yeah.
But I suppose I just like that there is a conversation with the city leaders, even if it's more insulting to us, the audience. Never mind. I don't like it. It's BS. It's all garbage. It's an attempt to placate me, and I don't appreciate being gaslit by this narrative, pretending that these tribe leaders actually matter, because they don't. Maybe I just liked seeing Jet.
Yeah.
This is a pointless situation. I mean, again, the actors are doing fine. No hate to you guys. You're doing great. It's a pointless scene. and everything they're saying is pretty pointless. I appreciate them actually discussing it, though. Amber, reluctant to all that stuff, because of course she must be reluctant because she's got to be modest. We have to push this greatness upon her. She could never want it for herself, all that jazz. And again, this just makes people hate her, and I dislike that because I love Amber so much. And I hate seeing this hate built on her because of what the narrative's doing to her character.
I also want to say, I think it makes it look really bad that at no point does she think about her son, that she needs to get back to him. And this is kind of a lose-lose situation, really. Even if they do these acts of sabotage, it's going to take quite a long time for the Technos to essentially decide to give up. And she's already been away from him for quite a long time. And it was a very traumatic experience as to why she was away from him. I don't have children, obviously, but I'm guessing if I did, I might not worry about what was going on in this city and want to just see my child because I almost died.
Yeah, and that shows us just how much Amber seems to care about this little baby, because she seems worried about having to ask Trudy to be away from Brady for longer than this. But as if that's the sacrifice instead of not seeing her own child as well.
It's Damien, that's the thing. She's actually happy to be away from him because she knows she's worth the Antichrist.
The only thing I didn't appreciate about Amber agreeing to stay a few more days is that she volunteers Trudy without talking to her about it. And of course Trudy's going to go along with it. Like, that did bug me. Like, she doesn't say, okay, I'll stay a few days, but I need to see if Trudy's okay with that first, so let me talk to her. And so she's like, I'm sure Trudy will be fine with it. Like, of course she will, because her only role is to be your cheerleader. She has no wants or needs or desires of her own.
Yeah. I'd also say you've just reminded me of something that gave me the ick was when they were finishing each other's sentences when they were in the cafe, Amber and Trudy, and it was like dialogue for essentially Amber, but then they realised they hadn't written anything for Trudy, so they split it between them. It's like Trudy doesn't even have her own dialogue now.
And it's just beyond ridiculous. And what strikes me with this is they assume Trudy will stay wherever Amber is, even though Trudy was perfectly capable of coming into the city on her own. She could have gone back.
I was going to say, to be fair, Trudy can go back by herself, she doesn't have to stay.
Yeah, but to make the assumption that she has to stay because Amber is staying.
No, she doesn't have to. There is, but Amber can ask, and Trudy doesn't have to accept.
Yeah, but it is sold to us like that.
The narrative is sold like that, but she doesn't have to accept.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the problem with the dialogue. This dialogue is suggesting that Trudy's presence is dependent on Amber.
Yes.
Rather than, they could have easily switched that up if Amber had said something like, all right, Pride, I agree to stay. I'm going to talk to Trudy and see if she wants to go on back without me. Anything like that to establish Trudy's independence and the fact that she can just make her choice. But instead, it's just, I'll stay. I'm sure Trudy will be cool with it. And of course, Trudy is. We never even get what Trudy thinks of being, here a little longer. We don't even get to hear Trudy say, I want to go back, I want to stay. Nothing. It doesn't matter what Trudy wants. That could have easily been fixed with some dialogue to show that Trudy is an individual person here of her own volition.
Yeah. I'd also say, why is Pride so obsessed with the city now? Why doesn't he leave? Because Pride in Series 3 might have just gone. Why? Why doesn't he take Mouse and Sammy and anyone else who wants to go, Salene, and they just go with Amber and Trudy? Like, why is this such a thing for him?
He's pretending like he's doing this for Amber.
But even Amber's not totally into it.
Amber doesn't. Amber wants to leave. I don't understand why this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Why is Pride here?
Yeah.
It doesn't. I could forgive it before he had confirmation. Before Trudy came back and was able to confirm they'd been with the Ecos this whole time. You could convince me that Pride is here fighting this because he doesn't know if the Technos took Amber out on the road, what might have happened to her, and just feels a duty to take care of her tribe in her absence and to try to get her friends back. You could sell that me. But once he has confirmation that, no, Amber is safe. She's back with your tribe. You know, the thing you wanted more than anything, and the only thing that was stopping her from going back is because she was in love with Bray and wanted to stay in the city with him. She's back with your tribe. What is stopping you from going back now, Pride? They never give us a real reason for Pride being in this city.
Yeah.
It's not like he's been actively searching for May.
No.
They can't try and sell us on that.
No. And he hates the city.
He hates this place.
He hates the city. Yeah. This is about, like, the Pride that we got in Series 3. He would not be surprised that these techno-loving Technos came in, swept across the city, stole half the city away, and nobody did anything because of the way he thought about it and the way he thought about city dwellers.
And also, his narrative of wanting to change this place for the better doesn't work because he doesn't offer any other solutions to change the city for the better. He just spends all his time complaining. And, I mean, anyway, Pride is just poorly done. He's a poorly done character. His motivations are out of whack, and he's here because the narrative needs him here, not because the character makes any sense being here. And whatever. We're stuck with him. We're stuck with him. Let's just count down to his death, guys.
Well, never have I wanted to see a character go. I'm actually, like, when he first went, I was quite sad. Like, I was like, oh, that's sad. Now I'm like, nah, I'm ready for it now.
It's like, it's so sad. Like, every episode, you're like, why are you here, Pride? Why are you here? Every episode, like, it's such a sad state of a character.
Yeah, but the way Pride is acting right now, honestly, even Ned had more depth to himself.
Yeah, that's right. That is true.
Honestly, that's up to the actor. The actor was fantastic. He clearly had a story of his own as to what motivated Ned, and he projected that. So, I mean, sorry, he just got outclassed by the acting, you know? I just, the thing with Pride's storyline is it could work. It could be really beautiful. Here is someone who rejected city ways, modern ways, and found comfort at the end of the world with going back to basics. That is where he feels comfortable. That's where he finds solace. And that is where he feels safe. And then because of his love for a woman, he's dragged back into a world that feels very threatening and abrasive. And he wants nothing to do with it. But he does it for her. But as soon as he lost her, he's ready to run away, gets pulled back in for her sake. To see that person discover a love for the city, to actually genuinely discover for himself what Amber was fighting for, and to want to fight for that, would make Pride's story awesome. You know, and that could be awesome for him and Amber to actually discuss. Like, Pride, like, have Amber ask him straight up, why are you fighting so hard for this? You never wanted any of this. You actually got on my case when I wanted to fight for this city. So what, just, like, why doesn't Amber say, Pride, come back with us? Come back home, you know? Or your family misses you. They're pretty upset at me because I dragged you away from all this and then left you here. Like, come home and then have a really great discussion as to, you know, Pride being tempted, but all of a sudden, like, it occurs to him, I have a reason to be here and I really believe it's worth fighting for like you did. I understand now where you were coming from. Wow, that could have been great, but no, it's not. And now we're just wishing he'd die.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the middle of that story, him and Salene getting closer, which no one would have seen coming, especially not Pride. All of this is interesting storytelling. But no.
Yep, and it's not here. It's not in the actual show. Wasted potential everywhere.
Yeah.
I'd eat that up. I'd be like, wow, talk about a character jump, you know, like growth and change and, oh, man.
And then for the ending that they still kill him off.
Yes,
Disgusting.
that would be so tragic. We'd be we would just be devastated. Like, no! Instead, we're like, oh, it's about time. Bravo. Bravo. Salene, you'll get over it. You're better off. You know, like. Because I want to be devastated when a good guy dies. I want to be celebrating when a bad guy dies. I don't want to be celebrating when characters I'm supposed to love die.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like, thank God that's over. I want to be like, no, it was beautiful. You know, all I have to say about that.
Hauled up in front of Ram, who physically strikes him, Lex denies the theft and tries to implicate Ved.
I'm telling you, somebody planted that stuff there.
Fascinating. Would you care to tell us who?
Well, Ved's been spending a lot of time with a piece of vert dirt. Maybe he wanted to keep me quiet.
That's a lie.
Is it? Why didn't you tell everybody here about your little escapades to the beach then?
But when Java drops Lex further in it, he reluctantly confesses. Yeah, kind of an interesting scene. What did you make of Ram kind of uncharacteristically hitting Lex, and Lex's attempt to take Ved, and without realizing it, Chloe, down with him?
I'm not surprised at all that he's trying to take down Ved with him. You know, he doesn't like the little rascal.
I mean, also, he's got no other options, does he? He's trying to survive here.
He is, but...
It gets the job done. The scene is sufficient. It could have been deeper. Again, if it'd been built up to, actual discussions and motivations, and we were aware of all of them. This could have been a very tense-filled scene. They could have even implied that Ram is suspicious of Lex and Siva, and adding a little bit more to his physical striking out at this guy he sees as a threat. But there's nothing there behind most of all of this stuff. So it's just a sufficient scene that gets us where we need to go. Honestly, Java's the deepest character in this scene.
Yeah.
Her motivations are so clear and concise, and you actually feel an investment in her protecting her sister, even if it's at the detriment of Lex. Because he asked for it. She warned him. She's got the clearest motivations here. She's the most interesting character in the scene. It's even interesting that she doesn't let Lex take Ved down with him. She could.
Yeah.
It'd be amusing for Java. But her interest is keeping her sister safe and getting Lex out of the picture.
She's trying to minimize the damage of this.
Yep.
She doesn't want anyone else to be dragged into this. It's about getting rid of Lex, not about Ved. Because if Ved suddenly gets involved, he's the sort of person that would squirrel around and find out what's going on, look back at the CCTV and find all this stuff out. Because how did she get that stuff out of the hotel?
The same way they smuggled the kids out of the lab.
Yeah, but it's one of those things she's trying to minimize. And I thought it was interesting how Ram snapped at Java. It was Java's fault. It was Lex's fault, but it was Java's fault.
Yeah, I'm like, what the... Ugh. Poor Java.
That's what she's dealing with. And no one else can see it but her.
Am I going to end season 4 really loving Java?
I think so.
That's what's going to
yeah.
happen. I'm still going to hate season 4, but I'll have discovered a whole new love for Java.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'll no longer hate her for her wasted potential. I'll mourn her for her wasted potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And for this complicated relationship we're seeing between her and Ram.
Yeah, it's a functional scene. That's pretty much all I can say about it. It's going to give Ved his motivation to come up with an interesting solution to deal with Lex and to appease Ram, so that's fine. It keeps Lex around. They clearly, because obviously in any other case he would just get zapped, and go into the whatever with the rest of the Technos who get zapped. But we got to keep him around, so it does what it needs to do.
I thought the hitting was interesting, with Ram hitting Lex. That was surprising.
It was.
Because up until this point, I don't think we've had him be physically violent other than use his zapper. Like, to touch someone, we've not really seen much of that.
Yeah, that's why I think if we had more motivation, more insight into what he really thinks of Lex, and maybe even sees him as a threat to his own manhood, an attractive option for the ladies in his life. Lex is very close to Ebony. He wants Ebony. He's been sniffing around his wives, that adds I want to physically strike out at you, because normally he would just flick his wrist. And that's what he does to everybody. He's above having to put his hands on you. That's why he invented all this tech, because he's not a physically foreboding person. And for him to physically strike out at Lex, especially since he's constantly looking at Siva whenever they're dealing with Lex, as though he is aware that there's something going on,
Yeah.
Only to be surprised.
Is he not aware? I'm confused.
Exactly. It's confusing because later he will express he had no idea there was something going on between Siva and Lex. But you'd think This whole time, he did suspect that Siva found Lex appealing and that Lex liked Siva, and he just wanted to see how this was going to play out. But then again, later, it will be made very clear he had no clue. He had no clue.
He knows she stole the antibiotics for Lex, yeah?
I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying?
I'm so confused.
You could say the same thing, though, about how he views Ebony and Jay. Because at this point, it feels like he knows about them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he
But
actually does. Don't tell me he doesn't. He does.
But there'll be a scene when he'll find out and he'll lose his mind. Like, he cannot
No way.
believe.
The way it's played, it's like he knows. He's like seen the footage.
Exactly.
He oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it's played the same
problem.
both ways.
Oh, man.
As if it's brand new information.
He's aware. It's even played that he's aware of Chloe and Ved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's played as though Ram knows all of this stuff, but then they have the audacity to make scenes where he discovers it like he had no idea, and he's so furious.
Oh.
And now he's got to get revenge once he finds out. You know what I mean? Like, I had no, and it's like, they had no clue where this was going.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, the Chloe Ved thing, I kind of get, because he might just want to be seen as being omniscient. He's everywhere. He might want to freak Ved out and be like, oh, yes, of course I know about that. He doesn't really know about that. But with the Siva, Lex, Ebony, Jay situation, yeah, it's played both ways, both times, and it just doesn't work. Because who knows what, when, and where.
Messy. Wow.
Because he totally should know. He should at least know about Ebony and Jay. 100%, because he's literally got a camera in this woman's room and watches her on the reg.
Yeah.
He should know about them, but no, he actually doesn't. He probably should know about Java and Lex. He should have suspicions. This guy's always sniffing around and his wife keeps going missing mysteriously. He should suspect something, but nope. He apparently doesn't know that there was something really going on between them. Badly done.
Yeah.
Inconsistent.
Also, I am interested in Lex attempting to take down Ved without considering the trouble that could get Chloe into. I get it. I'm not.
That feels very Lex, though.
I'm not saying, oh, that makes him a terrible person. I'm just saying it's fascinating that he doesn't consider that Chloe, of all people, could go down if he does that. It's a Hail Mary. I understand that, but it's just like, the little girl that you've known since she carried teddy bears everywhere, you're throwing her under the bus too, dude. What do you think is going to happen to her? You didn't think you'd get caught. Are you still in denial and thinking nothing will happen to Chloe?
Probably, because it's very consistent with his character. He will do whatever he can to survive, and he's not thought this through. Because he's not thought any of this through. What is the exit plan if this actually happened? Does he have one? No!
But it's such a departure from all the growth he did in season 2 and 3.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the Lex we've got now. Kiss goodbye to that. Forget about it. The growth is gone.
Lex really grew into a person who his family meant something to him. Even if he got mad at them, he wasn't throwing them under the bus. He would reluctantly swoop in to save them. And now he's so stupid that he's just like, oh yeah, my kid sister, who I hit on, like, I'm throwing her under the bus if I get this guy in trouble for messing around with her.
It's interesting that Sabine mentioned Ned in this, because it feels as if a lot of Ned's personality has been given to Lex.
Yep.
But give Ned credit, there's no way he would throw his little sister under the bus.
No, there isn't.
That's so true.
If it was Tally and Ved, there's no way Ned would give up that ghost in front of Ram. Oh, he'd confront Ved on it, 100%.
Because he'd blackmail him about it and try and get
exactly.
Stuff,
but there's no way he's gonna sit there in front of Ram and throw his little sister under the bus to save his own butt.
Nope.
I'll give Ned that.
But I mean, the Lex, that Lex is dead. R.I.P. that Lex. This is the one we have now.
3 seasons of character development down the toilet.
Yeah.
What was the point? What was the point of taking us on that road with Lex? Going from hating him to being like, oh wow, there's more depth to this guy, seeing him even out when he finds his yin to his yang to this. What was the point of all of that?
Well, you could say that for most of the characters that are left. They've
Lex
all
hurts the
been
most.
reduced down.
Yeah, Lex gets it.
It
Gets
hurts
quite
the
bad.
most.
He was one of the most interesting ones.
Oof.
He had such a great journey of
Yeah.
growing up. This kid from an abused home, a broken soul, finding ways to piece himself together as he grows up. And man, he had to learn such harsh lessons.
Mm.
And this is what he's been reduced to. I don't care if Ram kills him right now.
Yeah. Let's think about his journey of grief that he went on. You know, when Sandra died, that journey, and how he came out the other side of it. All of that is just gone. It's disappeared.
Mm.
We're not allowed to remember that.
No, we're not allowed to. Because, you know, God,
Lex doesn't have grief.
you know, help. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have grief. He doesn't. I mean, you could get away with it to some extent on the grieving thing because Tai-San is not dead. So he may be still in Delulu that she's not dead. He could still get back to her at some point, and he's just keeping her in this kind of mental box where she's not dead, but she's also not there either. It's not like Sandra where she's actually dead and there's nothing he can do about it. You'll never see her again. The grief is all encompassing, especially how he treated her was appalling. He comes to terms with that.
I guess Lance was right. That annoying scene where we tried to defend what Lex was saying to Chloe and Salene about Tai-San being dead in his heart, being gone from his heart, really was the show just telling us she's dead to him now. We tried to defend that scene, but Lance, late apologies, you were right. I'm sorry. I really wanted to see more in it, but at this point, I can't. She's dead to him.
Mm.
And he's that's it. That's it.
But she's also not physically dead, though.
Yeah, it don't matter to him.
So, like, we've got Steve, a placeholder, with potential that Tai-San might come back one day.
But this again, but then we get nothing from Lex to show his conflict, to show that this is what he's dealing with, to show that my feelings for Siva are developing, but I still hold out hope for Tai-San. You know what I mean? Nothing. We don't get none of this.
No, we don't, because that would be fascinating.
Yeah,
it would be fascinating because we've already kind of seen that a little bit when he was fighting for his feelings, but no, we've got no.
we see no emotional processing for Lex. Like,
no.
So
and think of the deals he could have made with Java. Okay, I'll stay away from your sister if you give me my life back.
Or at least let me know where she is. She's well. She's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any information.
Anything.
Or just explore what he actually feels for Siva. Like, maybe the reason he's so careless is because he doesn't care about her enough right now. And so he hasn't given any thought to her safety. Right. Like, I haven't thought about her safety because she doesn't mean that much to me, or whatever. I mean, the closest we've gotten to realizing that Lex still might actually care about his wife, who's not dead, but is dead in his heart, is him volunteering to trade the people they rescued for their friends. Oh, of course, Tai-San isn't mentioned, but it's highly implied that that's who he was talking about. That's who he was thinking about. Like, that's the only evidence we get that he still wants her back.
Does he, though? Does he really?
Oh, according to the script, no.
Sometimes he does, I guess.
I suppose it comes back to that crystal. The thing that Tai-San never wanted becomes the symbol in his mind of Tai-San. So,
Shoddy writing. Shoddy writing.
To the point even his now girlfriend is crying over the bloody crystal.
Well, if that's anybody's crystal, it's actually Siva's, let's be honest. She actually wanted it.
We're supposed to take
that was her
this
one
knowledge.
gift. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, she's allowed. But I also think it's funny that they want us to feel like the fact that Lex, when he realizes, like, Java, she's just like, as soon as he tries to Lex tries to redirect to Ved and Chloe, and then Java is just like, she reminds him that it's Siva who's on the line. Then he admits to the theft. That's supposed to be significant. It's not, but it's supposed to be. It's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to tell us that he does care about Siva. He was so adamant about not taking the blame for this because he knows he didn't do it. And he knows he was set up and he doesn't care who he takes down with him, including his little sister, to get out of it. Only when he's reminded that Siva's the one who will also take the brunt, then he admits it. That's supposed to matter. And because of the shoddy character work up until now, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it really should, especially for, shippers of Lex and Siva. A lot of people love them, and it's like this could have been a great moment for them to be like, oh my gosh, he's willing to take the fall for her, you know?
Mm.
Mm.
All right, yeah, let's head back to the mall for a bit.
If you must know, I'm not feeling too great about myself at the moment.
Why?
It's Amber. She's one of my best friends, and all I can think about is how much I want her to leave.
Because of pride?
Yeah. I hate myself for feeling like this.
But she's not interested in him, not like that.
It's not her I'm worried about.
Trudy does try to reassure her that she is the one that Pride is now interested in. So yeah, since she's been back, Trudy has had quite a few heart-to-hearts with people. What do you make of this scene?
So Trudy's everyone's cheerleader.
Yeah.
I actually like it, I'm going to say. I like the growth in Salene to be able to, express what that takes introspection to recognize I'm jealous of my best friend and I shouldn't feel this way and I hate myself for feeling that way.
Mm.
And I like that. I like that she's just being able to be honest. She doesn't project it onto Amber. She's just straight. Like, I'm mad at myself because one of my dearest friends are here and I just wanted to go away because of a guy. And I know that's a crappy thing to be thinking. I like that she's expressing herself very well. She's come a long way. And I was proud of her for putting her thoughts into words and being able to see into herself. Earlier, Salene would have not understood where the jealousy or the feelings were coming from, and she would have pushed it all onto Amber. And poor Amber would have been like, "What's your problem with me? What did I do?" You know what I mean? This is a more mature Salene who is recognizing where it's coming from and chastising herself for it, understandably so. And aside from the fact that poor Trudy has been relegated to just the best person in the world for everyone else, no one gives a crap about her problems, I like the scene.
It's also nice that it's between Trudy and Salene because it shows how far they've come in terms of their actual dynamic. If you think about season 1,
When she left her to die.
Oh god.
yeah, they've come really far.
They have. It's a far leap to make. It's a great
Wow,
one.
yeah, they really have, yeah.
They really have. Especially last season, Trudy put Salene through the ringer.
Yeah. And yet here they are, united by concern about Amber being the third. They've both been there, haven't they? So, yeah.
I like what Trudy says to her. When a guy says he needs more time, it means one or two things. Either he really isn't into you, or he is, and in my opinion, he's really into you. I thought that was a really
I mean,
safe way
Yeah, that
to
was.
Yeah,
champion her friend.
she's wrong,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah. It's a shame, though, that we kind of had to have this theme. I mean, I know it's one of those things that you guys have talked about a lot, but it's the reduction to the shipping all the time, and there are a lot of things that Salene could be talking about here.
Yeah.
Amber being back and Pride's feelings are not where you'd immediately go, I think.
It would be awesome if her being threatened by Amber wasn't because of pride, but because of the position she herself has had to take up in the mall.
Yeah.
And how important it's become to her now that she's in a position of leadership and feeling threatened by who she always saw as the better leader. That could be cool. That would have been fun to explore for her. Like, I never thought I'd feel, because she'd never been threatened by Danny or Bray or Amber before as leaders. But now that she is the one who has to keep the family together, the insecurity she might feel about that she's not as good as the others had been at running the mall and running their tribe. And here comes Amber to remind her, you'll never be very good at that, Salene. That was never your role. That would have been an interesting jealousy for her to be dealing with, rather than reducing it to, but I think the boy I like wants to be with her again. Like,
But isn't that always what they put Salene through?
that's what they do with everybody.
All the female characters get reduced.
Yes, exactly. All the female characters get that. And it's like it wasn't like that in the past. They had other things on their mind. But not anymore. Now it's all about the boys. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't have any other problems except, does that boy like me? No matter what they've gone through, the only thing they're worried about is if a boy likes them.
a theological debate to have here, which is Amber and Pride's view on things versus potentially Salene. It could have been interesting to have a different perspective of another person who's maybe a leader, who's feeling squashed out of the conversation because Amber's back. So she feels like nobody's asking her what she thinks, even though she's been in the trenches with Pride. Both of them know the situation. Both of them have been trying to get some sort of rebellion going, and it's failed. And now Amber sweeps in.
Once again, Trudy's the only one who actually thinks to ask Selene's opinion on what they should do. Because Trudy's the only one who recognizes she's also running the Mallrats right now. And while Amber and Pride are discussing, and Pride's basically on his knees begging Amber to fix the situation, though we have no motivation as to why it's so important to him. It's Trudy who goes, Salene, what do you think we should do?
Yeah.
You know? And Selene's, oh, thank you. Someone remembered I'm at the friggin' table. Because Trudy knows what it's like to be the invisible person in the room.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I love the way Salene handled that, you know, like she was like, I do agree, like that others need to know what was happening, but I don't think it's fair to pressure Amber into staying, which was a very diplomatic answer given the turmoil she's already feeling about Amber being there, you know. And but yeah, I there's just so much she could be feeling about this. And, you know, if you're leading with somebody, it's her and Pride running this mall, trying to keep this pathetic little family together. And she's one of the originals. So she feels a great sense of responsibility to do it. You know, even telling Pride, you don't have to care about this. This isn't your problem. She's saying it's my problem. And for her joint leader to basically act like she doesn't exist because Amber came back and doesn't even look for her opinion of what they should do. He wants Amber's opinion. I'd punch him in the face. Salene, push him down the stairs.
Yeah. It's also interesting that Salene and Trudy are bonded by a common thing, which is neither of them are allowed to ever move on from the mistakes that they've made in the past. They will be constantly thrown in their faces. Trudy especially, and by the fandom as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Allowances are made for others, not these
Ebony's
two.
out here killing people.
Yeah.
But poor Ebony.
You know, all she ever wanted was love.
Right. But
That's
Trudy.
all she wanted. Trudy had a postnatal depression after she had a baby when she
in
was
the
a
apocalypse.
In the apocalypse. How dare she? How dare she? Trudy tried to protect her child the best she could.
After being
and then
kidnapped and abandoned by her tribe.
And was brainwashed. How dare she? Salene had an eating disorder.
And she was a bad girlfriend. We can never forgive her.
Oh, yeah. She was a bad girlfriend, even though she repeatedly told her partner she wasn't ready to have a child. Oh, how dare she not be ready to have a child in the apocalypse? And what else are you going to do? Not try and survive. No, you need to get sprogged up immediately.
Immediately. Prove your love, Salene. But yeah, I liked the moment between Salene and Trudy. Nice, just honest moment, and nice reminder that how far they've come, that they're genuine friends. And I liked Trudy's support. I liked Selene's honesty. And I just wish we explored the other things that Salene could be feeling conflicted about. Because for me, I would be more jealous of, hey, I'm a leader here, you know?
Yeah.
And I have to keep being sidelined by the louder people in the room, who basically who basically treat me as though my thoughts on this don't matter, even though I'm the only Pride. You're not keeping this tribe together. You don't bring anything to the table. It's Salene doing it. She's the one feeding everybody. She's the one keeping this mall spick and span. I don't know how, because we never see anyone do anything. Pride, you let all of our supplies in the kitchen waltz out of here. Didn't even notice. You know what I mean? Like. And so why he's at the table calling the shots as to what needs to be done now, when again, he's been given no strong motivation to care as much as he does, other than progress. I don't want it. You know what I mean? Salene being sidelined like this, she has a right to be like, I am jealous. Back off. Let me. Why should Amber's word mean so much when she has such a track record of abandoning tribes that trust her and need her and promote her to leadership? She has zero issue with abandoning them. I'm not saying her reasons for abandoning them are wrong. I'm simply saying she has a track record for doing it.
That's a good question.
Yet everyone is desperate to have her back. Please tell us what to do. When she's literally got one foot at the door. Time.
I mean, she's also been shown to be, like you say, she's almost as if she doesn't want to interfere with the course of things. It is what it is, and I'm just going to withdraw.
I appreciated Amber feeling that way. Like, it's not really my place to come in here and tell you guys how to do these Technos. You know, it's Pride who's like, no, you have to. You know, but it just, that narrative constantly, Amber is the only one. When Amber has, let's see, she's walked away from the Mallrats a few times. Again, I want to reiterate her reasons. I'm not saying her reasons for walking away were wrong from the Mallrats. I'm not even saying her reasons for walking away from the Ecos were wrong. Just that she leaves both of these tribes quite a few times. High and dry, with no notice that she's leaving them.
And it goes all the way back to series 1, really. She did that then with Sasha.
Yeah. Yeah, she was going to leave. I don't blame her, but I'm just saying she was going to leave. Bye.
I guess the narrative around Amber is that she's a good natural leader, but isn't looking for it.
And she is. But it's like, let's acknowledge that, and that there's some people who should have feelings about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a leader who I can't depend on to stick around, no matter how good they are. Hell, both times she left the Ecos, she didn't even let them know that's what she was doing.
I don't understand.
Ram's too powerful. There's no way we can take him on.
But we can handle him. The two of us working together would be much more than a match for him.
No, you don't know what you're saying.
But it's true. If we got rid of Ram, the rest would follow you. Maybe not my sisters, but they're nothing without him.
But Jay doesn't want to risk the collapse of the Technos and all his goals. And so he breaks up with her. So yeah, how did you react to Jay's decision to end the relationship?
Weirdly, I liked it.
Wow, this is like actual relationship drama.
Yeah. But it also feels quite in keeping with his character as well. Because he knows that this is a fight, that he can't win, and he can't keep them together. And if he goes against Ram, it could go really badly for all of them. He's just got into this situationship with Ebony, and you can see he is actually genuinely quite sad that he has to let her go. But there's nothing he can do about it.
It's nice to see a romantic conflict based around the priorities of the couple, like what's more important to them, and to be able to actually sit with that and try to decide for yourself which one you think has the better, or the priorities you agree with, you know what I mean? Because this is something real. This is something you're going to come up against in real life, in your relationships. This is up there with like Salene and Ryan wanting to start a family versus not starting a family in this world. You know, that's a genuine conflict people come up against. Ryan thinking, nah, this is what people in love do, and we could have a family because we love each other and it doesn't matter the world we're living in. You can't wait for the perfect circumstances. And Salene rightfully saying, why would I want to have a baby when I'm 16 and the world is over and we can barely feed ourselves? You know what I mean? And I can't guarantee that we'll be together forever. On and on. That's a real conflict. That's what Jay and Ebony are having. I really appreciate that. You know, for Ebony, she's like, I have found something that matters to me more than all the other stuff that used to. I want to fight for it. You know, we could take all of this. That's always been Ebony's attitude. I want it. I'm taking it. We could do it together. And Jay's like, my priorities are more important than this relationship. I want a better world, and this is my best chance to get it. I'm sorry. You know, like, oh boy, like, it's real. That's like... And what Ebony hears is, I'm not enough. I'm not enough for you to fight for.
Yeah.
You know?
I think there's an earlier scene that's quite interesting as well, which is where Ram tells Jay about the proposal. And then Jay meets Ebony in the reception area. And she says that she hasn't seen Ram or Jay. And Jay believes Ram. I think that's quite interesting. Because that tells you as well that he doesn't totally believe or trust Ebony.
Yes, that's true, because you'd think in that moment he'd be confused as to which was true. It was Ram just messing with, but no, you're right. He immediately believes Ram and believes Ebony is keeping something from him. I mean, he's right, but it is fascinating that he doesn't consider for a second that Ram was the one who was lying to him. You know,
Yeah.
he's testing her. Will she come clean and just tell me? And when she
And she
doesn't,
doesn't.
he's clearly disappointed, and which I wonder how much of that informs his decision about their
That's what I was
relationship.
going to say. How much does that
Mm-hmm.
factor in?
I like it. It challenges you because people do have different priorities. Some people are more,
Yeah.
the career is more important to them, and how the other can feel rejected. Like you would choose your career or your other ambitions over our relationship. And often in narratives, that person is painted as the bad guy. The, you
Yeah.
know, the person who wants to go off to school rather than staying close to their high school sweetheart. And women often get this a lot in fiction.
Yeah.
Any female character who's more ambitious about a career or their life goals over their high school
Mm-hmm.
sweetheart is seen
Yeah.
as a heartbreaker or bad person because this guy isn't her
Devil
end
Wears
goal.
Prada is a great example of that. The way
Right,
Andy's treated in the
Mm-hmm.
narrative.
Starship Troopers, another one. Carmen,
Yeah.
you're my girl, okay? She's like, I want to go full career. And she's treated as a bad person in the narrative because
Yeah.
Johnny Rico wasn't her end goal. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like that. It really does test. Is this a red flag that Jay isn't willing to fight for this relationship because his ambitions are stronger than the woman he literally just met
And is this even
and is still learning about?
is it even a relationship? They've hooked up a
Right,
couple of times.
exactly.
You're not going to
Exactly.
burn down the world for someone that you've slept with 3 or 4 times.
That you don't even know will always be honest with you about stuff. Like he doesn't even
Yeah.
know what they have yet. And he's like, I'm not
Yeah.
throwing away what I've been working for years for this. It's just not gonna happen.
All the things he's done.
Yeah. But the psychology is right for Ebony because she just wants to be picked.
Mm-hmm.
She wants
Mm-hmm.
to be chosen above all others, and she wants to hear that he wants to burn down the world to be with him. Like, that's what she wants. Whereas for him, he's a much more realistic person. This is, yeah. But it's consistent writing when it comes to Ebony and what we know about her.
I really like what she hears. Like we know what Jay actually says. And it is logical. Like these are the things I'm working for. And these things are more important than what we've just discovered between us. I'm sorry. And he is. I think he is, genuinely sorry to have
Yeah.
to end this with her because he does like her. But if he has to choose her and medical supplies for all, he's picking medical supplies for all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's in love with her. As you said, they barely have a relationship. They're just falling into like and lust, and it's nice. But if he's thinking greater good over this, I'm picking greater good. I love that what Ebony hears is, I'm not good enough. I'm not worth it to you. So it's highly motivated by their characters, and that's another reason I really like the scene.
And it feels like the chinks that are going to appear in their relationship, this feels like a natural chink. This isn't man-made so that he can be with Amber or anything like that. This feels like a natural thing that's happened.
It's a conflict brought on by their personal flaws.
Yes.
Because what he's not recognizing Jay's just being very forthright. He's not straddling a line. He makes a concise decision as soon as this comes up. We can't happen. She's too busy trying to toe the line and tiptoe around Ram. If what she has with Jay was that important, if she was ready to burn down the Technos with him, wouldn't she just say no to Ram? Wouldn't she make it very clear, I don't want to be your wife? Why would she keep tiptoeing around him if she really was willing to just, let's do this, Jay. Let's go, let's take him down. You know what I mean? Like, so she's straddling. She's always playing it safe. I can understand looking at her as Jay and being like, I'm not putting everything on the line for you. I don't think so. No way. I can't even trust you to be honest with me when I ask you a question.
I like how the scene is framed as well, because when she asks him that question, he gets up, and it's interesting framing as well.
Yeah.
You can see him thinking about how he's going to answer this question, and maybe even what would be the outcome, and he reaches it, which is there is an outcome in this that is positive. If I say what I'm really thinking, she ain't gonna like it. And if I go along with her, we're doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other factor in this that she hasn't thought about is Ved.
Yeah.
Is Ved gonna come on board with this? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe he's gonna sell his own brother out. Who knows? But he can't risk it for this.
And also, in the same conversation, this woman even says she's willing to throw her own sisters into the fire
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
they can be together, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, in that moment, there's just so many things. I also like how both scenes are staged. When Jay comes to her, seeking the truth, wanting to hear her, he actually creates a moment of intimacy. He sits right next to her. There's nothing between them. And she puts up the invisible wall between them. But in the second scene, there's a distance between them. It's already been created. I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
She already created the distance.
I think it also illustrates that actually maybe this relationship has always had an expiry date on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because of who they are as people.
Which I think would have been a better conclusion to the relationship than the one we got.
Yeah.
By them literally petering themselves out because of just who they are.
Yeah, and they want different things.
Yeah. And they have different methods about getting it.
And just because they're united by that sort of grey area, well, they'll do what it takes to get it done, doesn't mean it means different things to both of them. Because for him, it's not a personal thing. It's I'm doing it for the greater good. For her, it's a personal thing. I'm doing it for my greater good.
So yeah, we found a really good scene in this episode. Hoorah!
All right, cool. That brings us to our final thoughts of the episode.
Has Ram changed his mind?
No, I changed it for him. You ever heard of electro-neural interface?
What?
It's a new technology. An untested one. And you're going to learn all about it.
What are you talking about?
You're going to be my guinea pig. And when I'm only halfway done with you, you're going to wish you've never been born. Sweet dreams, loser.
What did you make of that cliffhanger ending?
I think, as Liz said, it's a good way to keep Lex in the narrative, but also it feels like something Ved would do to get back at him because he's a spiteful little troll. So it works in that way.
To be fair, Lex deserved it.
Yeah, it's completely functional.
I mean, to Ved, he just threw not just Ved, but Chloe under the bus.
Yeah.
That's just, it's not done. And I'm glad, honestly, I'm on Ved's side in this.
I mean, you get the feeling that Ved's only thinking about Ved, but yeah. Because again, we're not sure how Ved actually feels about Chloe, what Chloe feels about Ved. All of this is really vague.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, Ved does realize how dangerous Ram can be.
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfectly functional.
That's damning. That's a damning indictment to say about anything. It's perfectly functional. Imagine that if that was the review you got,
Well, it's more than we can say for a lot of scenes, so it's kind of high praise for season 4. A functional scene. It does what it needs to do.
Season 4, it does what it needs to do occasionally.
Especially the occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, keeps Lex around, and Ved is highly motivated to make this suggestion, and ta-da, okay.
Yeah, because Lex has got his plot armor on. Make sure that that's intact.
I mean,
like you say, anybody else, they'd be dragged away. But no, we've got to keep him around. So we know nothing bad is really going to happen to him. And we know that he doesn't even get addicted like somebody else.
Oh my goodness.
He turns, they're right. Lex, when Ebony says, he's got this talent for getting into these situations, but he always divides. She's right. That is true. That is what happens. And he turns this to his advantage. Again, it's all going to work out well for him. Great.
And it's a shame because this should feel more threatening to the audience because we've seen what happens to people who are hooked up. We literally just came off the back of Amber and those kids being rescued and how horrific it was. And yet I don't feel any of that horror knowing that that's what they're going to do to Lex. And that's bad. That's really bad that I don't feel anything. And you should be like, oh no. what Amber and these kids just escaped, that's what they're going to do to Lex. And I didn't even think about it.
For me, it felt like he was going to experience what on earth Siva just went through with Ram.
But it doesn't feel that way in the scene though, does it? It does feel like, because he makes that joke about being a minor, and then Ved's like, ha ha ha, that's not happening. You ain't going nowhere, son. You know? But we cut away to Lex's face, and he looks a little bit concerned, but not the depth of horror that you would actually express, which is, I have just tried to get this guy deleted, possibly. He's definitely had to go to his boss and make some serious apologies. And now he's going to tie me to a chair and I'm going to be at his mercy. Like, your face would be not good. You would not, it wouldn't be like a petulant look to the side, which is what I was reading from it. It'd be absolute horror.
Wow. That is just amazing. In this episode, we are constantly being reminded of the horrors of what the Technos are doing. I mean, that's part of the whole plot of the episode is Amber letting the other tribe leaders know what the Technos are doing to people. You know, like they need to know. We need to get this word out to them to rally them to want to fight these Technos. And we end the same episode with knowing one of our heroes are going to have it done to them, and it doesn't land.
No, it doesn't. You don't care. Nothing. It's white noise. You know, it doesn't hit at all.
It feels very much like he had it coming.
But even then, it doesn't feel like the punishment is even that big a deal. That's the problem. And it feels like we're constantly cutting away. Like when we had that meeting and Amber's told them what happened to her, we don't get them saying, well, what was it like? And because we've already had that scene, so we don't do it again with the tribe leaders. It's just they automatically believe she's telling them the truth. And because her word is law. And there's no questions about what it was like for that to happen to you. Do you think that's happening to everybody that was taken? Did you see anybody who was taken? It's cut away all the time, which then leads to the point, well, why do it in the first place if you're going to cut away?
How does the season manage to keep undercutting its good stuff?
Lack of care and attention. Doesn't care enough about the narrative. It's too busy doing something else constantly. Oh, this relationship isn't working, let's move on. This is a new couple for you to get interested in. Look at this. Nobody has sat down and really thought out the story plan from A to B to C. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? What's the end result?
And how do you make people care about it all?
Yeah, because that's the thing. We care because we've cared since season 1. But if you've just jumped on board this moving train, do you actually care? Who are you investing in?
Well, clearly hardly anyone that was in this episode today.
Lance, you've been quiet.
He's practicing if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
That part. No, I'm glad you guys found a really interesting scene in this episode. I just got no love for it.
Nope.
Lance is just trapped being here because none of us know how to do this recording of that. So that was an episode.
My goodness.
And it was slow. It felt a lot longer than it was. You know, how you can drag that out, I don't know. How nothing can still be happening. Nothing is still happening. Nothing. When you think about everything that happened in Series 3 by this point, it's like, oh, whiplash.
Not just in Series 3, just think about Series 2.
Yeah?
How much happened in those episodes?
And Series 1 is slow, but it's the reason why it's slow is because they're building out the world and the characters that are in it. So yeah, it does feel like it's happening in real time. But that's the point. This feels like just vibes. Things are happening and we should feel a way, but we don't because it's just words and nothing means anything.
That's so weird. I can't believe we're on episode 23.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't really feel like anything of meaning has happened.
No.
No. Mm-mm.
I'm still just stuck on everybody I loved is gone. Everyone I love that's left, I don't love them anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, it's okay.
And it's so hard to get out of that mindset because they're not giving us anything else. So you're trapped there. You're trapped, still thinking about Alice and Chai-san and everything that we've lost, Jack and Ellie. And instead of that, we're not moving past that. And we should, at this point, have started to connect more with these other characters and with this new narrative. But it's not happening.
No, and the ones we do care for are the ones that are supposed to be the bad guys.
Yeah. Well, because they're interesting. They've got motivations. We've not seen them before. They don't have baggage. They're not old characters that have been reduced down to flanderizations. Everybody's got a catchphrase and they just come in and say it. They're different. We don't know what their catchphrases are yet.
Yeah, never in my life would I have thought that one of the characters I would appreciate most in this season would be Ved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never
and
thought
Jay.
that I would feel this kind of like, oh, you know what? I get it now. I like the Technos as characters, not as a concept. That's the characters themselves. I'm invested in them. I'm interested in them. But I don't care about the story. I don't care about the narrative. I don't care where this is going. I wouldn't even want to speculate where it's going. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't already know. Like I'm like, you know, I'm literally just taking it one episode at a time. And that's what it feels like. It's just one episode at a time. I'm not feeling the flowing narrative of a story. Even though I know there is one, it has done nothing for me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a season yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah.
That is damning. Well, halfway, it doesn't even feel like a season.
When does it get started?
Well, like episode 51 or something.
Stop.
No, that is what's going to happen. You're right. Yeah. We're going to get into the 40s and it's going to start kicking off and you're going to be like, you've left this too late.
I think the fairest thing to say about season 4 is that the sum of its parts are greater than the whole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not devoid of good things. We've complemented many things in this season. It's just not coming together as a whole.
God, it feels like Doctor Who all over again. We're trapped in that headspace long.
And on that note, that brings Series 4, Episode 23 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and you can show your support by clicking on that like and subscribe and following us on all the major platforms. You can also leave us a comment or get in touch if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast yourself. Just search for thetribe.co.uk or Conversations on Eagle Mountain. You can also throw us a donation. Just head on over to buymeacoffee.com/thetribe.co.uk. And we'll see you next time for episode 24. Until then, bye.
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 Bye.